last year you had a break there for nearly 3 months, I think it was, Clarko, and you've spoken that you may have lost your passion for coaching. You've obviously had that reignited again this year, and I'm led to believe, early in the year when you boys played West Coast, that you opened up to the group about connecting to them and saying it's been challenging for them. And so you're all in and you're invested in the coaching and in this current group. And it felt as if that was a breakthrough moment. You came out the next day, you won, and there was very powerful scenes in the locker room after the game when the boys sang the song.
Well, the really pleasing part for me, Brownie, is that I've been able to find my purpose again in terms of what I think I can contribute to this group of lads. And that started out with good intention when I first arrived at North, but within a month of me arriving there, this Hawthorn saga, hit the landscape, and despite that not going totally away, there's not much we can control about that until it's decided whether it gets to a federal court or otherwise. And so it's really just, I've been really fortunate that North have been so supportive. They've given me a great lot of support in terms of that issue, but also support in terms of just the slow burn it's going to be for us to get ourselves back to being really, really competitive again. And that sense of purpose is what I sort of outlined to the players. There was probably this little bit of uncertainty of when
you're holding back a little bit.
Yeah, when you go through a situation like I did, where you invested just so much, and felt like you just gave your all to every part of that build at Hawthorn, to then have what happened, and that little bit of doubt, these allegations. It's just like, gee, do I want to actually give everything I've actually got here and be burnt again? And it was probably the mid part of the year where it's just like I've got to be all in here. If I don't go all in here with these players, then I don't think we're going to get there. And that wasn't going to be any good for me. It wasn't going to be any good for the players. It wasn't going to be any good for the club.
So I still sense a little. There's resentment in that because there's stuff that you can't go back and change. Did you have to find closure for yourself in some sense to be able to move forward and then fully commit to the North boys and to what was in front of you and let the stuff that you couldn't fix go?
Well, it's just, there's for a long period of time you're trying to fight to try and find a platform with which you can tell your story, and to this day we still haven't been able to. So there was just the realisation probably after the failure of the Human Rights Commission to be able to come to a conclusion on this, that it's just like, well, there's no point fighting this anymore in a sense, and Fags, myself and Jason are just going to have to patiently wait. We try to stay as dignified as we possibly can right throughout this process and just wait for the day, if ever it comes, where we get to tell our side of the story.
Clarko, I put down my footy IQ to you. I learnt so much under your guidance. The apprentices you had Dimmer when I started there at Hawthorn, and you've had so many come through. Adam Simpson just exited Western Australia. What were your thoughts on, obviously, his treatment in the media over in the West and that exit?
I thought he handled himself in a really dignified manner, and that's not surprising. He's been captain of the footy club and now a coach and a really, really decorated player. He's been involved in 550 or 600 games of AFL footy. It's a pretty extraordinary effort. So he knows the ups and downs of the caper. I thought he was really dignified, not just in his handling of last week, but how he's handled the last 2 years. It's tough yards, and I've lived in Adelaide and been a part of the Port Adelaide with Choco, and I know Choco was a favourite son of Port Adelaide, but I know that for a couple of years there when they finished on top of the ladder, but didn't salute against the Brisbane Lions. That market, those markets in Adelaide and Perth can be particularly tough on their football coaches. So I think he's handled himself with real dignity, and he's a class act, and hopefully he's not lost to the game.
What about this, Clarko? He brought a premiership in 2018 and the Western Australian dish up that. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's disappointing, but that's why it's just so important that you stay dignified. I don't think that's necessary. You know, the man's contributed a lot to the game, and we all go through tough times, whether that's as a football coach or things go on in our lives. You know, not everything's rosy all the time, and there's a time to show dignity. I think, whether you're in the media or whether you're a coach or a player, and I just think they crossed the line a little bit with that one.
How did you feel about that, Bucks? That headline? You've been through a similar scenario.
Well, I think the paper, you know, the masthead let himself down, and I wonder how you feel about it. Like in your time, is it getting worse? I mean, it's always been quite. There's always been an intense focus on senior coaches. Do you think that the understanding of what a senior coach's role is and where it fits into the football department is as obvious to the punters through the media as it should be?
Yeah, well, there's an old adage out there. It's never quite as good as it is, and it's never quite as bad. But that the middle ground doesn't sell newspapers, and unfortunately, you'll get people that just have to take one side of the story or another just to be provocative, to actually be able to sell the story. And that's I think we've seen that overnight with what happened in America with Trump. You know, there's the Trump side of the story, and then there's the gunman side of the story. And when you've got two sides of a story like that, then that creates interest and sells papers. And that's the really hard part about this landscape that we're in. The game's so popular. The pundits want information as much as they possibly can, and if there's controversy and provocation, whatever it might be, there's one part of the AFL that'd be loving all this debate, for instance, about the tackling, that sort of stuff, because it just gives the guys in the pubs and that sort of stuff something to talk about, and gives the media something to write about.
All right, Clarko, fast money. We're going to go rapid fire. So I'll ask a series of questions, Bucks and Brownie. Short and sharp.
I'm not good at rapid stuff.
You are very good. I've seen you in action.
You Tony Barber.
I'm Tony Barber. Where's my buzzer? Where is it?
5 seconds in.
Clarko, will North have co-captains next year?
Gosh, I've buzzed my 5 seconds already. Yeah, I've got no idea. We'll look at that in the summer.
Could Harry Sheezel be an option for a co-captain next year?
Not just yet. He's got a lot of learning to do, but he's a ripper.
That was my fault, that one.
Yeah, Brownie put that one in. Who wins the Brownlow first, Wardlaw or Sheezel?
Right at this point, Sheezel, but Georgie won't be far behind him, hopefully.
Are Ruckman overrated?
They weren't on the weekend. Big X lowered his colours to.
He's had a good year too.
He's had a great year.
In hit-outs or around the ground?
In hit-outs, surprisingly enough. Yeah. So that was the one game. I'm not sure about the rest, but that was the one game where he won hit-outs, and they beat us convincingly. Kicked 12 goals from stoppage, so he spanked us.
Should the AFL change the parameters to the Brownlow medal eligibility?
Yes, I was very, very happy that Heaney didn't play against us on the weekend. But, it was good for North, not that it helped us too much, but not good for the game. You know, I reckon once again it's what's the intent of the player, and the intent of Isaac in that case was really to try to. He was nearly saying sorry to him as he accidentally pulled his arm back. So I'd say change it. Yeah.
If you had your druthers, would you have a key back or a key forward to add to your mix next year?
Key forward are the toughest position on the ground to play and find as well. So,
Thank you, Clarko. Thank you.
Clarko?
Well, one more. Is it true that Jonathan Brown was the reason that Nick Larkey kicked 71 goals?
71.
Mate, I had that down to ask you.
According to Brown, yeah.
I got it in first.
Clarko, what advice have you got for Bucks? He's just put his hand up for the West Coast job on Friday night.
First class ticket he wants. Sit up the front.
Do you get this pointy end? Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm in.
How crucial is the signature for LDU?
Pretty important, and it's the same with Cam Zurhaar. Those guys, that was the. We lost a lot of guys through that middle bracket, and I think West Coast were a little bit the same. That 26 to 28-year-old player that is just so important to the fabric of your footy club, and so those guys are just entering that sort of phase now. But it's not the end of the world. It's free agency. The players are entitled to make their decisions after they've given good service to their footy club. But we're really hopeful those two boys will stay and help us build where we want to go to.
You're a superstar. We could sit here for hours and have a chat. Good luck on Sunday against Carlton, and good luck with North and the build.
Good on you. Thanks, boys.